Welcome to Harkins Haven. Today we're going to be talking about and showing you how we built our chicken tractor mini-me, which you can see behind me. It arose out of a need for us to have a space for our growing laying chickens that we had purchased not too long ago. We needed a space for them to go because they couldn't stay in our brooder since we had some new chicks coming in and we needed that extra space. However, they were too small to join our existing laying flock, which is also behind me. Reason for that is that they were actually still small enough that they could fit in between the fence lines and they would be able to escape out of our electric netting that we have around our chickens. So we needed a much more secure space for them to go, but it also needed to be a little bit mobile, and that's when we decided to build the chicken tractor mini-me. And today we're going to be showing you how we did that.
So the first couple steps, as you can see, were pretty straightforward. We just ripped some 2x4s into 2x2s and cut them to length. Our original plan was to use a 4x8, but all the 2x4s that we had were 10 feet long, so it ended up being 4x6 because that made 10. So I'm just cutting the 2x4s at 4 feet, so I have a 4 feet section and a 6 foot section, and I'm making enough for 3 rectangles. So you have a bottom, a top, and a lid, and then we're going to use something different for the sides. In an effort to reduce costs and use materials that we already had on hand so we didn't have to run to the store to build this last minute coop, these up and down pieces are slats from some old pallets that we had taken apart for a different project. The wood on these is ridiculously hard to screw into. It's just very, very solid and thick. So that's why I'm struggling a little bit here. But basically we just took, these are about 2 feet long, and we're just screwing them to the inside of our frame as our vertical pieces so that we can put the top piece on as well. So after we finally got all the pieces on, then we added the top rectangle as well. And like I said, this is a very simple construction. We used one screw at the end of each piece and just put it together. We weren't really going for anything fancy. Our goal is that the teenager chickens will only be in this coop for a few days to a few weeks. It should be mobile. We could be able to pull it just like we do our meat chicken tractor. And we'll be able to keep it inside the fence, the electric fence, with the other laying chickens so that they'll be able to get introduced through the netting a little bit, and that should help make the final introduction when the teenagers graduate into the big coop a little bit simpler. So next I'm going to put this brace piece across the center of the roof. This is again just another piece from a pallet which just happens to be 4 feet across. And the brace is just to help us when we start putting the roofing on, because half of it will be chicken wire and half of it will be PVC roofing. And this just gives us something to screw those roof pieces to. We used chicken wire for the front half of this coop, and we're just stapling it on. So in an ideal world, we would have put the up and down pieces inside the squares so that they were even with the edges and we could have stapled into them, but they're so hard and we have a light duty stapler that we weren't able to staple into them anyway. So it turns out that it wasn't a big deal, that they're actually too far away to staple in anyway. But if you're going to build a coop like this, my recommendation is to set the up and down piece on top of the rectangle instead of inside of it, and screw up from the bottom and down from the top. that just would make this side piece much easier to staple all the chicken wire into all the corners. Also, one must always consider safety on homestead projects, and a safety vest may increase your visibility when you are aerating the lawn with a screwdriver. We're going to put a little bit of chicken wire on the roof. This is a different roll just because it's 4 feet wide, so that we don't have to have a seam in the middle. For the other half of the roof and the other half of the siding, we're going to use these PVC panels. These were just left over from our other chicken coop projects, and we're just cutting them about 2 feet tall so that they fit on the edges. And then we're just going to screw them in with roofing screws. This will give the chickens an area they can go to get out of the wind or rain, or if they need to get out of the sun, and just allow them the choice of shady or not shady areas. So we're going to use another couple pieces of pallet wood to just put some mini roosts in here. Since these are teenager chickens, they are not laying yet, so we don't have any sort of nest boxes or anything like that in here. We just wanted to give them something so they would get used to roosting on a little piece of wood, which is similar to what they'll have in the chickshaw when they get in with the laying chickens. So Brian's just adding a couple here on the bottom for them. And last, we decided to put some hinges on this so the door would hinge, or the lid would hinge up and down. And that's just for ease of getting in here and not having to fight with the lid as often.
Thanks for joining us as we showed you and walked you through how we built our chicken tractor mini-me. We hope to see you in our next video. Bye now.